Hunter Biden and Jim Biden have received over 150 suspicious activity reports. That would probably put them at the top of the list of anyone in America. And that's no exaggeration. You can ask any banker that. Prior to Joe Biden becoming president, members of Congress could request from the Treasury Department a list of people that had suspicious activity reports. Joe Biden went in and changed the rule to where Congress can no longer request suspicious activity reports from the Treasury Department.
Wow, that was House Oversight Committee ranking member James Comer on with me on Mornings with Maria over on Fox Business on Wednesday, exposing the Treasury Department's new rule that restricts Congress's access to suspicious activity reports, including the more than 150 related to Hunter and Jim Biden's foreign business transactions. My next guest has been investigating this potential influence peddling and in September of 2020 released an in-depth report on the Biden family's financial transactions with oligarchs in China tied to the Communist Party, as well as in Russia and in the Ukraine. Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson sits on the Senate Foreign Relations and Homeland Security Committees. Good morning, Senator. Thanks very much for being with us. I want to get your take on these 150 suspicious reports. What are these suspicious reports? Why would they be suspicious? What triggers that? And what do we know about them?
Well, the Treasury Department enlists banking institutions to help them notify or recognize potential money laundering and other illegal and illicit financial transactions. And these are very sensitive reports. Again, suspicious does not necessarily mean criminal. And so they have to be handled sensitively. Our own report relied on what we refer to as Treasury records. But the fact of the matter is Hunter Biden was well aware of the fact that his activities were red flags and certainly could have triggered suspicious activity reports to the Treasury Department. Some excellent reporting by the Washington Examiner talks about, again, this is information off of his own laptop, off of iCloud backup of his iPhone. But he was highly concerned about his payments that he was making to non-resident individuals who appeared to be connected to a East European prostitution or human trafficking ring, that those were going to flag those types of transactions. And of course, we're seeing that Joe Biden apparently paid for at least $30,000 to $100,000, maybe unwittingly, but he was kept continuing to funnel money into Hunter Biden. So the fact of the matter is Hunter's computer is a treasure trove of information. And my concern about the way the Treasury Department, Justice Department may be using suspicious activity reports is they'll certainly use them against Republicans, but we don't have equal justice. We have a two-tier justice system, one that will treat with kid gloves or cover up for Democrats and their powerful friends, the elite, and the rest of Americans. And I think we're seeing that big time with Hunter Biden and all of his very suspicious transactions that certainly Senator Grassley and I, we have the actual bank records now. We've shown those on the Senate floor that show highly suspicious activity that I don't believe this Justice Department is doing enough to investigate and potentially prosecute.
I mean, will we ever see the details of what Hunter Biden has been up to all of these years? I know that if you're reelected and the GOP wins the majority in November, you plan to investigate Hunter's payments to what appears to be an Eastern European trafficking ring. What do you want to see, and what do we know about this?
Well, again, first of all, the laptop is revealing an awful lot. It's not being covered by the mainstream media, who are complicit in all of this, that are covering up for the Bidens. They got him elected, a guy who campaigned from his basement, so they'll continue the cover up. But we all already know an awful lot. I think the American people deserve the truth on this because Joe Biden is certainly compromised. I heard your last segment there talking about Joe Biden's soft on China policies. I mean, there's probably a reason why Joe Biden canceled the China Initiative, which was the Department of Justice program to investigate Chinese theft of our intellectual property on university systems. Why in the world would he cancel that? Is it because he knows that China knows all the transactions and exactly what Hunter Biden was involved in? So no, this is a huge scandal. The American public deserve the truth because it is putting at risk our national security, because we have a compromised president who has lied repeatedly to the American public, saying that he never talked to Hunter about his overseas business transactions. Now we actually have voicemails from off of these computers. And of course, my concern about all of this in terms of our Department of Justice is that to the extent that they might indict Hunter, I'm afraid they'll enter a plea agreement. And part of that plea agreement might be to seal the records so the American public never knows the truth. That would be a travesty of justice.
And I know what we've seen on the laptop has been reported by a number of people, Fox Business, Peter Schweizer, The Federalist. Is that the evidence that you have about this ring, that human trafficking ring and hookers? I mean, what is the evidence that you want to share with us in terms of what you have learned with regard to those things?
Again, we pointed this out in our September 2020 report based on Treasury records. And I'll leave it at that because I understand the sensitivity of some of these other records. But then we used those records to then develop additional information. We did our due diligence. Unlike the January 6th committee that is not doing their due diligence, we did our due diligence. And our report ended up spawning Tony Bob Lewinsky coming forward. We actually were given the opportunity to take Mr. McIsaacs, the computer. He offered that to our committee. But again, we had to do our due diligence. So we checked with the FBI. They didn't tell us anything, even though we know the FBI had Hunter Biden's computer in December of 2019. What have they been doing with it? Okay, to me, there seems to be all kinds of potential criminal activity on that computer. Our FBI, our Justice Department hasn't really done squat. They won't answer our questions about potential conflict of interest of people like Nicholas McQuaid, who heads up the criminal division. They don't even let the U.S. attorney in Delaware answer our oversight requests in terms of have people been recusing themselves. So there's an enormous cover-up going on here. The FBI, the Department of Justice have not been forthright. I don't think they're rigorously investigating this. And again, I'm concerned they will be involved in the cover-up as well. Even if they do indict, I fear they will seal the records. The American public will never get the full truth.